First, I'm going to share with you a clip of what the media was like in 2015 and what the anti-police riots in Baltimore were viewed as, and even Al Sharpton and the media viewed as the antidote for violence and problems in our communities and our streets. If we went back to this, problem solved.
Listened. She was captured on video disciplining her son. Now, how many parents can relate to that? I mean, it may not be in the middle of a riot, but if you got an older son or daughter, you may be able to relate to this. She was actually, though, she pulled her son off the street, got her away from there, and doing what any good, strong mother would do, and God bless her for doing that. Hours later, she was praised by Baltimore Police Commissioner Anthony Batts.
And she should be.
On one scene, you had one mother who grabbed their child who had a hood on his head, and she started smacking him on the head because she was so embarrassed. I wish I had more parents that took charge of the kids out there tonight.
And by the way, it may be jarring, Al, for some people to hear me say that any parent can relate to that, because they're like, oh, come on, my son or daughter would never do that. You know what? Have a 20-year-old son, a 21,
well, she might have thought that about her son.
But I'm just saying that you look at that and go, good.
But I think that, and one of the things I'm going to encourage them is that a lot of the faith leaders and community leaders, and my radio show was on there 6 days a week, so I know that town. I have a chapter.
Yeah.
They ought to be convening the parents.
That's right.
You know, everyone's saying, let's talk to the kids, which the kids, many of them, 12, 13, are not going to listen to anybody. The parents, what should the parents be doing? How do the parents restore it? There's no one talking to the people. That mother showed that kid is not that rough. She slapped him upside the head. He didn't swing back.
No, he didn't.
Here's a kid that'll take a brick and throw at a cop, but ducks when his mother comes and slap him. You've got to deal with that psychology, and that's what is needed here. But again, you've got to work with people that know how to deal with these.
You are not going to build a community, Doreen, from the top down. You're not going to elect a mayor that's going to be able to magically fix everything, or a governor that's going to be able to magically fix everything, or a president's going to be able to come in. It starts with parents. It starts with community leaders. It starts in the churches, and they have to be empowered.
Now, what is the media's portrayal of the anti-police, defund the police, hate the police, and do violence of the police rhetoric sound like and look like now? And this is socially acceptable.
Images on Brinsley's cell phone. They found footage of a recent protest in New York City's Union Square Park, where police now describe Brinsley being a spectator watching the protest. Over the past few months, we've seen protesters, in some cases, becoming violent towards police. These images now are familiar to our viewers. There was the sucker punch also in New York. And a week and a half ago, some of the protesters demonstrating in Manhattan were chanting, "What do we want? Dead cops. When do we want it? Now." Are these incidents, these videos, responsible for the deaths of the two police officers in New York City?
Well, there's definitely a causal connection. While Brinsley may have acted out of his own psychosis to do what he did in assassinating these two officers, we simply cannot deny that when we have unbridled reaction and negative reaction towards law enforcement, when we're asking for them to be killed, when we have hashtags that say "kill a cop," that it's going to have that result. And I think it is incumbent upon those who are in charge of the protest to do so in respect of the First Amendment. We have the right to protest, but just like you can't yell fire in a theater, you really should not be able to yell "kill a cop" on a street in America and get away with it.
Let me go to you. You are one of the leaders of these protests. You've seen those videos. You've also been out on the streets. What do you say to Mark?
Well, I invite Mark to come, first of all. I mean, I brought my 1.5-year-old child to the march last week, 50,000 people, not one incident until after the march was over. I think it is the greatest demonstration of our First Amendment, the sickening behavior of one individual killing, murdering two police officers 10 blocks from my home. That train station he went to is my train station in Fort Greene, Brooklyn, is absolutely horrific. But let us not mistake that. The protest he went to was December 1st in Union Square. Eric Garner's no bill comes December 3rd. So the dents of the protests have been after he came to New York and videotaped whatever he videotaped. He has nothing to do with what we're doing here in New York whatsoever.
But you cannot deny that there is a connection between an unbridled response against police and the way some people, Brinsley in this case, but maybe some others tomorrow, may react to that. So why don't we have a responsibility when somebody is in a protest that says kill a cop? Why is that person not excised out of a peaceful protest? Because I agree with you. One, we have a strong First Amendment, and secondly, they are the strong exception to the rule. But if you don't call out that dangerous facet of the protest, aren't we at risk of throwing away the baby with the bathwater of peaceful protesting?
Well, I think there have been many instances, Mark. Again, I invite you to join us in New York and in Ferguson as well, where we've seen agent provocateurs, folks who are saying things that we don't like, that we do remove them. But I think the focus here is that the police killed 2 black men. So let's also not forget that. Let's also not forget what we are. We're not anti-cop. We're anti-police brutality, and that's what we are fighting every single day for a more fair system in this country.
And that, of course, distinction when you hear those chants, obviously, you know, that got lost on some people. I think that's very clear.
This is not considered a hate group or a hate crime. It's considered prime time, and it's given a license and it's almost condoned by the media, this anti-police hate speech and hate rhetoric. I think for it to not be condemned by all parties makes any party who does not condemn anti-police and violence against police rhetoric, I believe it makes them a co-conspirator in the death of every officer. It makes us willing, silent, complicit conspirators. Back the blue. Because one day, they're going to be there for you. And if they're not, that's what they're there for. They're there for you. That's who you're going to call when you got a problem. You're not going to call the politicians. You're not going to call Joe Biden. You're not going to call Kamala Harris. You're not going to call the White House. You're going to dial 911. Anybody who wouldn't, all right, good luck to you. If you like this, like, share, and subscribe to the page. Please. We have to get a new narrative, and we have to denounce the narrative of hate, violence against cops, and people sitting in, right now, even as the Taliban comes back into power in Afghanistan, we have a Taliban in the United States of America seeking to silence the voice of the average, everyday, rank and file, Jane and Joe Doe, okay? Your voice counts. Make your voice count. Make it count everywhere you go. This is a free country. This is a free society. When the Taliban cancels you, they kill you. That's a truly totalitarian and oppressive slave state. That's what the Taliban runs. That's what Al-Qaeda runs. That's what terrorists runs. And there are people who are trying to turn this beloved country into that country by canceling people, by condemning people, by just saying words about you that aren't true. Jesus said, if you hold to my teachings, you truly are my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. You got to know the truth, beloved. And we got to have to start standing up for the truth, because we're losing our country. Peace.